Hey everyone, it's Tango Oscar Mike. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It is officially 2024 and I'm out in the garage. 2023 wasn't a bad year, but it could have been a lot better. My father had some health issues this year, and for Christmas, we decided to drive to Florida. It's about 1,000 miles. And during that trip, I listened to 146.52 and called a few times when we got near big cities, and only got one response during that entire time. I also scanned all the GMRS frequencies and rarely heard any chatter. Occasionally you'd hear some chatter, but it was most likely people doing price checks and that kind of stuff. Businesses seem to be using FRS radios for that kind of stuff. So that's all I ever really heard on that. We tried to listen to CB, but I don't mind swearing. That doesn't really bother me. But they were so vulgar, we couldn't listen to more than a few minutes. Basically extremely sexual in nature, and even borderline pedophilia. So I haven't listened to CB in a long time, and after listening to it for just a few minutes, I honestly wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It's just been my experience. So take that with you, what you will with it. But that's my opinion. I wasn't surprised about not getting any hearing from anybody else during our trip. But I know that if there was a real emergency, people would be tuned into their radios and listening. So, that really doesn't matter to me. I know I'm the same way. I don't listen to the radio all the time when I'm at home. And I think there are other technologies. And Scout 75 just recently did some videos on Meshtastic devices, kind of piqued my interest. Josh from the Ham Radio Crash Course did videos about 2 years ago on some T-beam devices you can get for about $35, and he did some range tests and everything else, so go check out those videos. I also found the Comms channel on YouTube, and I highly recommend that channel. He does a lot of great videos. But I went out to Rockland, which is like the major distributor for the United States for a lot of these devices. And of course, the demand right now is really high. They were out of basically everything. I signed up for a notification when the items come back in stock. And while we were on vacation, I got notification that items were back in stock, and I ordered some. They had 3 colors, I guess, white, gray, and black. The gray and black sold out immediately, so white was the only thing left, and shortly after I ordered mine, they were gone again from the store. I don't think they're expecting any more now. I think they put a statement that they're not expecting anything else until the end of January, the end of this month. So, but this is what I got. Oh, where I put it? So this is the LilyGo T-Echo. And there's a couple of reasons I went with this device. One of the main reasons is how small it is. It has a NR52 chip, NRF52 chip that has much better battery life than the ESP32 chip, which is in the T-beams. There are some disadvantages and advantages. This also has an e-ink display, which only uses power when it's updating. So right now the device is off, but the screen still has the display on it until it's powered on and you make a change and the screen updates. That's the only time it uses power. The comms channel said that he gets about 3 days with this device, which is great. The stock antenna, of course, is just a cheap stubby antenna, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, this has a case on it, which I 3D printed. From Printables. This is made by a guy called Frontal Designs, and it prevents the pushing of the reset button on the side of the radio, on the side of this device, which is a major flaw. You have to have this cover. Just holding the device or grabbing the device, I hit that reset button, and you just have to tap it and the device resets. So this takes care of that, and it gives you a loop that you could tie it to or something like that, which will come in handy as well. I like the device. It was easy to flash the firmware and get it up and running in no time. You pair your phone with this over Bluetooth and you're able to use the device. I do have some longer, better antennas. The comms channel tested this antenna and it was hovering around 6-to-1 SWR. And as ham radio operators, we know we probably wouldn't even use an antenna like that without a tuner. So the antennas I'm getting, people tested them and they say they're like 1.5 to less SWR. So I'm hoping, and they're a bit longer, which makes this a little bit less portable, but we know with radios you have to have a good antenna. So that's what I'm gonna work with. I did some range tests yesterday with this device. I actually put one in this little bag and hoisted it up into a tree about 40 feet to give me the best possible range that I could. But the only response I got anywhere was about a half mile from my house. So I was kind of disappointed. I tried another location, another hilltop. I'm on a hilltop here and I tried another hilltop location a couple of miles away, but it should be direct line of sight, and I didn't get anything. So I'm hoping the improved antennas that I have coming in will make a difference there. So the other differences between this, there's two versions of this device. One of them has a GPS in it, and the other one has a GPS and also another sensor that does humidity and pressure measurements. So that device is a little more expensive. This device was right around $67. But I do have hopes, and where I think this comes in, it's an off-grid communications device, but it's also encrypted, AES 256 encryption, which is really good. And mesh, unlike simplex, simplex is just point-to-point, one radio to one radio. This is not voice, this is just text only and location. Mesh is one device to many devices, and each device relays that message. So if you have devices spread out over several miles, you may only be able to reach one device directly with your device, but then that device will retransmit to the other devices in the area. So that's a good thing. This light over here keeps going on and off. It's probably driving you crazy, so I'm sorry for that. It's motion sensitive and has a really short timer. But yeah, I'm interested to see what we can do with these and what kind of range you can really get out of it. I know the world record is like 166 kilometers, and that's line of sight with no trees or anything in between them, with pretty standard antennas. So I'm hoping to get just a little bit better range out of the devices. I know Scout just got one of these and he's going to be doing some testing too. So definitely keep an eye out for that video. And like I said, I'll do some testing here. Now, I do have some concerns with this device. It is not waterproof, which is not a big deal. You could put this in a Ziploc baggie pretty easy and not have to worry about it. The e-ink display, and you have this issue with a lot of different various portable displays. From what I've read, this is susceptible to freezing temperatures, and you don't want to get this freezing, or you could damage the display. So that's a concern in the wintertime, obviously, but you could tuck this into your coat pocket to keep it warm enough where you wouldn't have to worry about freezing, or put it in a backpack or something like that. It should help keep it from freezing. So not too concerned. It's not waterproof, like I said, but so far I've been kind of impressed. And this is just a very rudimentary system. The network is the big part, the mesh network and being able to transmit over multiple vehicles. But it's really just text messaging, and it will show a map of what you can, where other devices are and where your device is, which is kind of nice. And you can request a location from another device. These devices have, or Meshtastic in general, have what they call channels. And that's not a frequency channel like we think about in ham radio. It's more of a chat group. Each channel is kind of a chat group. Only the primary channel can transmit location data. There is a default channel, so you could go into a new area, and if somebody else had Meshtastic running, you'd be able to see them on your on the device, show the node, show up, and communicate with them. But you can create individual channels for yourself as well. So this device with the NR52, I think I misspoke earlier and said NRF, but it's the NR52 chip, only has Bluetooth. You can only do Bluetooth with it to your phone. The Team Beam devices and the ESP32 devices also have Wi-Fi, and they can be used as what's known as an MQTT gateway, which is basically the Internet of Things. So you can connect that device to your home Wi-Fi, set up a node, and then other devices that are transmitting on the mesh network can hit that device, and it transmits over the MQTT network, which basically lets you connect multiple mesh channels, the same channel over the internet. So if I set up MQTT here with a specific channel, and Shane, Scout75, sets up a specific channel on his side, and he has an MQTT gateway as well, we can talk to each other. Even though we're not in radio range, it'll send it over the internet. So that's one of the bonuses of that. Also, the ESP32 chip has, Meshtastic has a node called automatic range testing. And that only works on the ESP32 chip. Basically, that device writes to a CSV file every time it receives a location ping. So then you can import that into Google Maps or Google Earth and see all the locations that the device was detected. That would be really nice, and I may try to find an ESP device to be able to do that, and the MQTT gateway as well. But this device doesn't do that. Where I think these can come in handy, I'm a fan of multiple forms of backups and communications and stuff like that, but for event support or just going to events like Hamfest, that kind of stuff, having this and being able to communicate to other people that you're looking for, not only communicate them, but to see their location as well so you can find each other, I think might be pretty cool. Definitely, I mean, obviously you could use these in an off-grid location. I've been to concerts and other festivals where cellular service was terrible. A lot of times your phone didn't even have signal. You know, you could give this to somebody else, have them put it in their pocket or something like that, and you should be able to communicate them within, you know, the range that you're at. Within the festival borders, you know, depending on how big the festival is, that kind of stuff. I read that a lot of people were using these at Burning Man and other stuff out there in the desert, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I do have high hopes for these, and I'm hoping I can get, once I do some testing and understand a little bit better what the ranges are, maybe me and some of the other members of my club can get interested in this, maybe put up a few nodes. You know, who knows, maybe we can even get one really high up on a tower where we can cover, you know, large parts of our county and use this as a backup to ham radio. I think that might be pretty cool. I mean, obviously APRS has much, you can use much more power with APRS and everything else, but all the APRS solutions I've seen have been really expensive, especially like the handhelds with APRS built into them. If you don't have a regular handheld, of course, you can get the MobiLink D device, which you have to plug into the radio and like put a rubber band around it to attach it to it. Then you have to have Android APRS on your phone to be able to use it, and you got wires. And that to me, I did try that, and it wasn't a good solution for me. I kind of like this idea, one device. I can strap this on my backpack, throw it in a pocket, and just have my phone. There are standalone devices that have Meshtastic built into it and have a keyboard. You don't have to have a phone with it. There's a couple out right now, but I don't think any of them have a GPS in it as well. They call them Meshingers, so MESH instead of MESS. And those interest me as well, but those devices are a bit bigger as well. So like I said, I do have some other antennas coming. I'm looking for an external antenna for my vehicle, so I can have the device inside my vehicle and an antenna on the outside, like a little mag mount antenna or something like that, because I think With anything, you want to improve your signal, and obviously having an antenna inside an aluminum box is not the same as having an antenna on the roof of that aluminum box. So these do have limitations. From what I understand, you can only have 80 nodes, and a node is just another device. But you can only have 80 nodes because at that point, the mesh network gets so crowded with retransmissions, all the devices retransmitting data from all the other devices. It gets kind of complicated. I heard it's more efficient if you run like 30 devices, something like that. But still, that's quite a number of these devices. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with this more. Hopefully we can get some other hams interested. Imagine going to a ham fest or going to a POTA park with one of these devices and seeing another person, another ham radio operator there to do a POTA activation with a device in the same park. You'd be able to ping them or something like that. Or maybe even combine this with fox hunting. Imagine coordinating your fox hunting efforts with these devices. Again, APRS, and this will never replace ham radio, don't get me wrong, but I think it's just another tool in your toolkit. And the fact that this is encrypted makes it all that much better. I wish ham radio wasn't so strict on encryption, because I think that would I think more people would use it if it wasn't, if there were no restrictions on encryption. Even with communications like WinLink, even just simple messages, WinLink, you can go out to the WinLink website and search WinLink for WinLink messages between people, and that's just kind of weird. It's going to be limited use for people, and in emergencies, sometimes you have information that you want to get to the EOC or something, and you don't want to send it over the air without some type of encryption. So even if they allowed encryption for emergencies and drills and stuff like that, I think that would be a good thing, but I don't see that happening. So maybe it is time to look at other devices. This is only, I believe, 100 milliamps transmit power, or 100 milliwatts transmit power, from my understanding. So very low power, but again, you could be linked to other devices. I could see using this for event support, GPS tracking during an event, that kind of stuff. So I'll be trying to explore that here in the future, and I've got high hopes for these, but so far, because of the stubby antenna that comes on this, I've been a little disappointed. So I'm hoping when the new antennas come in, it makes a huge difference. And from what I understand, people have been pretty happy with it. So I'm going to do some more testing, and I might get another node that I can just put up really high here at the house. But I want to do a little more testing first. So I hope everyone has a fantastic 2024, and hope your family's safe. Hope all the POTA pups out there are doing well, and have fun, explore new technologies. We're ham radio operators, but we like technology, and we like exploring new technology, and that's what I'm doing with these devices. So I hope everyone has a great year. This is Tango Oscar Mike saying 73. Take care.